I am an old man now. My hands shake when I hold a cup of coffee. My knees complain every time I stand from this chair by the window. Outside, the world still moves fast, cars rushing past, people glued to their phones, children laughing somewhere down the street. And here I sit, surrounded by silence, by memories, by the weight of choices I can never undo. People think old age comes quietly. They imagine it as a gentle fade into rest and wisdom. They're wrong. Old age arrives carrying every mistake you ever made, every moment you let slip away, every person you took for granted. It doesn't whisper, it screams, in the silence of rooms that used to be full. When I was young, I believed time was unlimited. I thought I could always fix things later. Apologize later, love later, rest later. I chased success like it was the only thing that mattered. That's the first lie I ever told myself. I grew up in a small town in the Midwest, the kind of place where everyone knew your name and your business. My father was a factory worker, a simple man with rough, calloused hands and eyes that always looked tired. He wasn't perfect. He didn't have much education. He couldn't give us fancy things or big vacations, but he was present. Every single evening, no matter how exhausted he was, no matter how his back ached or his feet hurt, he'd sit at the dinner table with us. He'd ask about our day, listen to our stories, make us laugh with the same 3 jokes we'd heard 100 times. Back then, I didn't understand how rare that was, how valuable. I thought it was ordinary. I promised myself I'd do better than him. I'd give my family more money, more opportunities, more of everything he couldn't provide. Instead, I gave them less of the only thing that actually mattered. I gave them less of me. When I moved to the city, ambition consumed me like a fire. New York didn't care who you were or where you came from. It only cared about one thing: how hard you could work, how much you could produce, how high you could climb. And I worked like a man trying to outrun something, though I didn't know what. Maybe I was running from that small town, from being ordinary, from ending up like my father, tired and overlooked. I met my wife, Eleanor, in a crowded subway station on a Tuesday morning. She dropped her books. I helped pick them up. When she looked up at me and smiled, it felt like the sun breaking through storm clouds. She smiled at me like the world wasn't as harsh as it really is. That smile saved me more times than she ever knew. We built a life together. Small apartment in Queens, second-hand furniture from thrift stores, dreams stacked higher than our bank account ever was. We'd stay up late talking about the future, the house we'd buy someday, the children we'd raise, the life we'd build. When our first child was born, I held him in my arms and felt real fear for the first time. Not fear of failure, fear of responsibility, fear of not being enough. And yet, I still chose work. I told myself I'd be home early tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Months became years. My children grew up while I was busy building a career they barely remember. I missed my daughter's first school play. She was a sunflower in the spring festival. Eleanor told me about it 3 times that week. I promised I'd be there. I promised. But there was a meeting, an important client, a deal that couldn't wait. Everything felt urgent except the things that actually mattered. I wasn't there when my son needed help with his math homework. He struggled with fractions, Eleanor said. He kept asking when Dad would be home to explain it. By the time I got home each night, he was already asleep. Eventually, He stopped asking. Eleanor would wait up for me. She'd keep dinner warm in the oven. When I'd finally walk through the door at 9, 10, 11 at night, she'd be sitting there, dinner cold, eyes tired. But she never complained, never yelled, never made me feel guilty. And that silence was louder than any argument could ever be. One night, I remember it was raining, she asked me a simple question. Do you even like the life we're living? I didn't answer. I pretended I didn't hear, grabbed a beer from the fridge, turned on the TV. Because I didn't know the answer. That's another regret I carry. Thinking silence is safer than honesty. Thinking if you don't say the words out loud, the problem doesn't exist. But problems don't disappear. They just grow roots. As the years passed, distance settled into our home like dust you don't notice until the light hits it just right. We lived together, but we weren't together. I thought providing money was the same as providing love. I thought a nice house and good schools and family vacations I barely attended were enough. They weren't. Money can buy comfort, but it can't buy back time. It can't replace presence. It can't fill the space where you were supposed to be. Then life did what it always does. It reminded me how fragile everything is. Eleanor got sick. At first we thought it was nothing, just tired all the time. Headaches, small things. She said she was fine. I believed her because it was easier to believe her. By the time we realized the truth, time was already slipping through our fingers like water. I sat beside her hospital bed, holding the same hand I had ignored for years, the same hand that had made countless dinners I was too late to eat, the same hand that had waved goodbye every morning while I rushed out the door. I would have traded every promotion, every dollar in the bank, every achievement I'd worked so hard for just one more ordinary day, one more breakfast together, one more stupid argument about nothing, one more chance to notice her. She looked at me near the end. Her voice was weak, but her words were clear. Promise me you won't wait so long to live. She passed away on a quiet Sunday morning in April. The birds were singing outside. The sun was shining. The world kept turning. And mine stopped. The house felt empty in a way I still can't fully explain. Not quiet. Empty. Her absence echoed in every room. I'd hear a sound and turn, expecting to see her. I'd start to call her name. Then remember, the mornings were the worst, waking up and reaching across the bed, finding it cold. That's when the regrets became unbearable. They sat with me at the breakfast table. They followed me to bed. They whispered in the dark, "You had time, you just didn't use it." My children were adults by then. They came to the funeral. They hugged me. They loved me. But there was a distance I had built. Brick by brick, year by year, missed moment by miss. You can't suddenly become close to someone after years of absence. Relationships don't work that way. Love isn't something you can just turn on when you finally decide you're ready. Another lesson I learned too late. They have their own lives now, their own families. They call on holidays, send birthday cards. But there's a gap between us that I created, and I don't know how to cross it anymore. Maybe some distances can't be closed. Maybe some doors, once shut, don't open again. Now my days are slow. I water the plants Eleanor loved, the roses by the fence, the herbs in the kitchen window. I reread old letters she wrote me when we were young. I watch families walk past my window, parents holding children's hands, laughing together, and I wonder, do they know how precious this moment is? Do they understand how dangerous it is to assume it will always be there? If I could speak to my younger self, I wouldn't tell him to work less. I'd tell him to notice more. Notice your child's laugh, the way they run to you when you come home, the questions they ask about everything, the way they pronounce words wrong, and it's adorable. Notice your partner's tired eyes and ask what you can do to help. Notice when they need you, even if they don't say it out loud. Notice how fast time moves when you're not paying at all. Success is loud when you're young. It demands attention. It promises happiness, security, significance. But regret's louder when you're old. Regret doesn't knock politely. It moves in and stays forever. I've learned that life isn't measured by achievements, not by the size of your house or the title on your business card or the number in your bank account. Life is measured by moments of connection, by the people who would genuinely miss you if you were gone, by the memories that make you smile instead of ache, by the love you gave freely, not the love you plan to give someday. I sit here now, an old man with a lifetime behind him and fewer days ahead. My hands still shake. My knees still complain. The world outside still moves too fast. I can't change the past. But maybe, just maybe, my story can change someone else's future. If you're hearing this right now, don't wait. Call your parents. Not tomorrow, today. Tell them you love them while they can still hear it. Hug your children longer. Get down on the floor and play with them, even when you're tired, even when work is calling. They won't be small forever. Choose people over pride, over ambition, over the fear that you're not doing enough, achieving enough, being enough. Love while you still can, while the person is still there, while the moment is still possible. Because one day, and that day comes faster than you can imagine, you'll be sitting where I am, looking back. And the only question that will matter is this: did you truly live, or were you just busy?